we are seeding again today. We're seeding into some wheat stubble. And this is one of our smaller fields. It's along a little creek here. It's called Ash Creek. They call it that because it's full of these nice ash trees. And it's not a live creek, but it does have water in it quite a bit at a time. But we've got 3 fields here that are along this creek, and it's a total of 15 acres. This field I'm in now is about 7 acres. And then on the other side of the creek there's another field that's about 7 acres, and there's one that's like 0.8 acres or something. So I think that is officially my smallest field. But it just kind of goes along with some land that we rent. And it's 3 or 4 miles out of the way. It's not ideal, but it belongs to the landlord, so we work it, to get along, keep relations good with him, and but it is really good ground. This little 15 acres here, it'll raise a crazy amount of crop. It always does. It never disappoints. So it's worth it. You just got to get in the mindset that I got to wing up, I got to travel 4 miles over there, I'm going to waste a bunch of time. But in the end, it's all right. And it's the same way at harvest. You got to road the combine down here. It's got small gates. I can't get in here. I got to pull the header off. Monkey around, waste time. But I don't know. For some reason, we think it's the thing to do. But I like carrying about 600 to 800 bushels of wheat off here every fall too. So it works all right. See, our drill is moving along. Our wheels are staying on today so far. Got to the drill this morning and doing my pre-checks and did a crank test, and the handle didn't feel quite right, and I've had enough experience to know what that means, and all my fertilizer primaries were plugged. So we had to get those cleaned out, get things going, and I don't really know why. We had a little bit of moisture that it sat. We had a little bit of rain, and I don't know. I was seeding last night. I'm just not sure. But I did, after I fired up today, after that little problem, I noticed I had an oil leak in one of the hydraulic lines to my fan. And it didn't seem like a lot. It was just kind of a little bit of a drip. So I thought, we could probably get through the day with that. But then as I thought about it some more, I thought, well, I don't want to drive over and have those 15 acres to do and get over there and blow hose out. Because I usually don't even bring a truck or a pickup or nothing over here. I just wing the drill up and come over here. And there's no cell phone service, so if I have a problem over here, I either got to drive out of here or walk to the neighbors, or it's just not an ideal place to break down, let's just say that. So I thought I better go to town and get a hose. So I did that. One fertilizer truck was getting kind of low, so I thought, well, I might as well make a trip out of it and fill it. So I took it in and got a hose, and when I put it back on, got going, everything seemed to be fine. But then I noticed after I seeded for a little bit that I had gained about 350, maybe 400 RPMs on my engine, on my hydraulic fan. So I think maybe last night my fan was cutting out enough that it wasn't quite pushing that fertilizer through it, and slowly backed him up. And if you're familiar with the Flexicoils, you know that there's a baffle that goes in between the front and rear tanks, and then you can adjust that baffle to see how much air you want on each tank. And I generally run it pretty close to the middle, and it gets along pretty good. What I was getting at though is if that front fertilizer rows plug right underneath the meter housing, that's where they generally plug, then the rear meter still gets air, and so it was still seeding. So I don't have any bare spots in my field. I'm just going to have a few acres that have no starter fertilizer on it, and I didn't figure it was probably worth going back trying to find that and mess around today. So we're just gonna go with that. I kind of like that feature because that's happened to me a handful of times in the past, and the fertilizer up front is always the one that plugs. So I did adjust the baffle just a tiny bit today. I give the front just a little bit more air, which makes me about half nervous because it's always worked pretty good, and I don't want to mess things up. But if the front doesn't plug, then it will help push air past the second, underneath the second meter too. So I think it's going to work pretty good that way. Hopefully eliminate a problem. But this tractor doesn't have any too much hydraulic to run a drill. But it does work, but you have to be very cautious about running that fan speed too low, because if you get it too low at all, then it wants to slow down enough for that meter. That's what will happen. And sometimes even like on headlands, just when I lift my drill, I actually even toggle the seed off because it starts slowing the fan down so much. It cuts my fan by probably at least 1,000 RPMs when I lift the drill out of the ground. And when it's doing that, it just can't push product. And it comes up really slow. So my cutout switch on the back of the drill takes forever to engage or disengage. So I manually toggle it off. And it's not ideal, but I guess I've gotten used to it over the years. It's kind of a habit. And once in a great while, I'll catch myself. I'll get to the end of the field and realize that I did not toggle back on. So I have to turn around and make that pass again. But I've managed to always catch it, not ever have any big wrecks. So it's one of those deals that it works, we make it work. I guess the answer to the problem is to get a tractor with better hydraulics. A lot of the Versatiles had the auxiliary hydraulic pumps installed up front, the Atom Jet systems. But a lot of the Versatile, the older ones ran the 855 Cummins, and it worked pretty good for those. This 876 now has the L10 Cummins, and they claim that the crankshaft is not strong enough to handle that auxiliary hydraulics. So I've never seen or never known of an 876 to have the add-on pump. You get into the 9 series, like the 936, the 946, the 976, and so forth. You see a lot of those with the pumps, and then even some of the older, the 875s, the 895s that had the 855 Cummins, they were able to handle the strain of the pump, I guess. And they actually work really nice to run a drill. Or they used to. There's not many of them going anymore. They're a pretty old tractor. But the guys that I know that ran them they'd hook their fan to that auxiliary pump. So it constantly had uninterrupted hydraulic flow. And then they would run their wings and their lift off their tractor hydraulics. So they were never running their fan and another remote at the same time. And it was a pretty good setup, for the day. It worked pretty good. But now tractors have such more capacity in their hydraulics that they can run multiple fans and keep your drill up and down and just do all kinds of things. And I think this tractor is rated at, like, don't quote me on this exactly, but I want to say like 23, maybe 26 gallons a minute hydraulic flow. And I know some of the new capacity systems are probably over, I think upwards of maybe close to 120 gallons per minute flow. So I mean, just incredible amounts of hydraulics and stuff. So we're just not able to run a lot with this tractor, and it's limited us to well, we can run for a drill, but it's been a good match. I've ran this tractor together with this drill since the fall of 2000. I think the fall of 2012, I seeded winter wheat with it. It was the first time that I had it and used it. You can see we've got a nice cover here on the stubble. If you notice, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little bit of green here, and if you're wondering why I'm seeding when it's green, I sprayed this field, or all of these fields down here, about 3 weeks ago, and we got a kind of a second flush of weeds here after some rain and some pigeon grass and stuff was coming. So I actually sprayed these fields all again just a couple days ago, and it takes 4 or 5 days before you'll really see the weeds start to change color and get brown. But so they are dying. It should leave us with a really clean stand of wheat here. We've got nice moisture down there, and the ground is very mellow. And there's a big rock too. I should stop and get that guy, but it's just something I don't like to do. So the seeding conditions are great, other than the fact that we're late. It was a late, I don't know why. I've been racking my brain for the answer, trying to figure out why am I seeding so late. Because we started, I thought, in pretty good time, and we worked pretty hard at it, but just little things and weather and life has kind of slowed us up, but we got to find a way to get a little bit more efficient next year, so that's kind of some of our goals. We're moving along here. And as you've noticed, I've brushed by the steering wheel a few times, and I'm not using my auto steer because these fields are so small you can't even hardly get a line set up. So what I do is I just make 3-4 rounds around them, and they're pretty much done. So by the time you get your headlamps seated, you got the thing seated twice. So I don't even bother. I just go around and seat it. And if they were square, I probably would, but these fields, there's not a, I don't think, maybe this field along the road there's a little square edge, but for the most part they just kind of snake around this creek, and you can kind of see the other one over there across here, and we can't cross this creek. We have to go out, wing up, go out on the road, and just a quarter of a mile down the road and get in there. So not the most productive as far as getting things done, but it is kind of a nice little place to farm, and for some reason I kind of enjoy it, so that's why we're doing it. So that kind of gives us an update today. So far, I said with fingers crossed, we really haven't wrecked anything yet today, so that's kind of a bonus. Kind of probably not that enjoyable for you guys to watch when I'm not tearing stuff up and having to repair, but we are seeding, so that's a good thing. One problem I do have, and I did not take a video, but I did take a picture, and I'll probably throw that on the end here just to look at, is I got a tandem, an old International tandem truck that works nice for fertilizer because it's got a huge box, and it's a triple axle. I can handle quite a bit of weight on there. Actually, I put up over 20 ton on there before. And it works nice to tender fertilizer to my drill. But along the bottom edge of the box, it leaks a little moisture, and I worked at trying to get it repaired this spring, but I just ran out of time, and I didn't get it sealed up completely. And it is sat out enough, we had enough rain on it, that it has sucked moisture in under the bottom. So I've got about 8 inches of urea on the bottom of that truck. That's pretty much hard. Now I got in it today and I dug around a little bit, as soon as I turn it up and stomp on it a little bit, it crumbles and breaks right up, but it's got a touch of moisture in it, and I'm pretty nervous about putting it in my drill. So I think for now I'm just going to leave it, and at the end of the season I'm going to get in there with a steel shovel or maybe even a scraper and just pop all that off the floor, and then we'll kind of just stomp it down and work it down. And I think probably the best thing I should do is just put it into a spreader and then just go straight out to the field and spread it so it doesn't have a chance to solidify inside of another implement, I guess. So that's going to be kind of a challenge, but I mean, the work is there. The problem is there's probably $1,500 worth of fertilizer stuck to the bottom of that truck right now that we're going to have to use. But if we get it spread out somewhere, it's not going to be totally wasted. But yeah, something that we definitely got to get that corrected in the off season. It seems like every year we learn a few more things that we must do and a few more things that we absolutely can't do. And we've hit several ends of the list this spring already, I guess, and once in a while we'll hit one in the middle there that's kind of where we're supposed to be. So that's what's going on today. Just a little update. Appreciate you guys watching my videos and checking out my channel, and we're gaining subscribers all the time, and that's exciting, and we appreciate that. And we just enjoy sharing part of our life with people and the agriculture world, and give people the opportunity to see how food is made, and also just for the entertainment factor, and just watching me flounder along as I enjoy my passion for farming, I guess. So again, we're just glad that we can do this each day, and we're just thankful for the Savior we have in Jesus that allows us to have hope through all situations and all conditions, and we trust that more than anything we do with this life here. So hope you're having a good day, and just thanks again for checking us out. Talk to you later.